Hello, I'm Joiko, the JOJO Maniac. Today, this video is for people who have not read JOJO'S manga and even not watched the anime. The first story begins at fate between the Joestar family and Dio, and the story is relatively of high importance, so people who start to read from now should read JOJO from the first story. However, JOJO is hard to approach for the readers for the first time. Especially in the first section of the first story, no one uses an ability and an enemy is a normal person. When special abilities appear in the story for the first time, they are not stands that are at the center of talks in JOJO buffs but ripples that are on spectacular abilities. It seems that there are a lot of readers who give up reading before the third story, in which stand appears. So, I will make a summary of the first story this time. I will help you to take this opportunity to read JOJO. And if you have a friend who has not read JOJO, please force him to watch this video. Here we go! Prologue. First, here is a commentary on the history of the stone mask that is the clue of this story. There was a strong kingdom called Solar Civil Aztec in Mexican central Plateau between the 12th and 16th century. What they used for prosperity is the stone mask. If someone wears the mask and it is touched by blood, a bonus needle out of the mask carries the back of the wearer's head. Then, he can get an everlasting life. However, one day they disappear. That the mask has been discovered and the British Lord Joestar gets it causes the tragedy. It is okay that you forget about the Aztec because it does not appear in the story later. A boyhood. This is where the main story begins. The story is about England in 19th century. The son of the Joestar family, Jonathan aspires to becoming a real gentleman and is so brave as to go up against an enemy who is so strong. His name is Jonathan Joestar, so he is called JOJO. One day, a boy Dio Bondo comes to the Joestar family. His father is Delio. When Lord Joestar falls down a cliff by Bucky, he mistakes Delio, who tries to steal things, to be a lifesaver. Then, when Delio dies being in his death, Lord Joestar adopts his son, Dio. Dio has the ambition of taking over the Joestar family as fortune first. Dio is stung with Jonathan and mentally drives him into a coma. Dio steals a Jonathan's girlfriend Arena's first kiss and kills a Jonathan's beloved dog, so he takes over Jonathan's important things. The stage of youth. 7 years after that, Jonathan and Dio grow up big and strong. Their father, Lord Joestar, falls into poor health, and an ache in the chest, swelling in his hands, and the cough do not subside. One day, Jonathan knows that Dio's father, Delio, had died as a result of the same case. He notices that Lord Joestar's disease is Dio's work, and travels to search for an antidote. A street fox speedwalk gun, who picks fights with Jonathan in the middle of traveling, becomes a friend. While Jonathan travels, Dio is interested in the mechanism of the stone mask. He thinks that if he parries the bonus needle out of the mask to Jonathan, he can kill Jonathan without leaving any evidence. He tries to use the mask to a drunk, who picks fight with him, and then he is nearly killed by the drunk, who has an effect of an astonishing physical ability and resilience by the mask. However, when the sun rises, the drunk disappears by being exposed to it. Jonathan gets the antidote, then he comes back to his house with the deer, who has sold the drug to speedwalk gun and Dio. Even the deer is pushed into a coma by being found the evidence, he wears the mask and tries to transcend a human by stabbing Jonathan. Lord Joestar is quickly stuck in them and comes to the defense of Jonathan, but he dies by being pierced. A fight with a vampire, Dio. Even though Dio is pumped many shots into by the police there, he stands up again because he has gotten the superhuman power. By the power of the mask, he defeats the police and the males, and completely recovers discovers by vampirizing Jonathan counters with several ways, he finally succeeds in defeating Dio. The house of Jonathan, as well as Dio, are bound down in this fight. Jonathan is snatched from the jaws of death. Acquisition of ripples. Even though Jonathan is badly injured by the fight with Dio, Rena, who is ex-girlfriend and has become a nurse dedicated, renounces him. And then he recovers one day, when Jonathan is able to walk outside, and is taking a walk with Rena. They meet a mysterious man by the name of Baron Zepke. He suddenly jabs at Jonathan's stomach and controls his breathing. Then his complex fracture makes a strong recovery. To control breathing is a skill to create the energy of ripples in the body, and is only the way to cope with defeating the vampire. Zepke says Dio is still alive. Jonathan has his mind set on training with Zepke to defeat Dio and destroy the stone must. To win night is not the Speedwatch investigation. It finds out that Dio is likely keeping himself hidden in Midnight's lot. Jonathan, Zepke, and Speedwatch go to Dio. Along the way, into the tunnel that sunlight does not reach, they are attacked by Jack the Ripper, who is making the headlines this time. Jack the Ripper has been turned into a zombie and become the top enemy, using Blaze. He is defeated by Zepke and Jonathan easily. They encounter Dio. When the group is pulling out of the tunnel, it gets pickpocketed by a boy, but they take back by using their ripples. After that, as the sun falls, Dio, who has become a vampire, is in front of them. There are zombies around Dio, which he has created. They fight Dio, but they become an uphill battle because Dio has picked up the skill of controlling cold air, vaporization freezing technique. Dio summons most powerful zombies, Bruford and Tarkus, in the middle of the fight. They were knights that went to the guillotine in 16th centuries, but Dio made them risen from the graves. First, they fight with Bruford. Even though he is the strong enemy using his hair, Jonathan defeats him. Bruford recovers a human's mind at last and dies. A fight with Tarkus. After the fight with Bruford, the next fight is Tarkus. He tries to attack the boy Poco, who picked pockets before. Jonathan escapes, wants to take him to a safe place first, which is the fighting arena of chain deathmatch that Tarkus is good at. Jonathan is forced into the room put in chains. Tarkus goes into the same room and they fight, but Jonathan becomes an uphill battle for his advantage. Then, Poco makes a breakthrough to help Jonathan. Even though he is chicken, he goes into the room from the narrow window, which only his body can go through, and presses an opening and closing lever in the doorway, being attacked by Tarkus. Then, Zepke goes into the room and helps Jonathan, but unfortunately his body is split into and defeated. Jonathan gets the last power from Zepke and defeats Tarkus. A fight with Dio. After defeating Tarkus, the Jonathan's group heads to Dio. Along the way, Zepke as Professor Tonetti and his disciple, Dio and Strayo, become the members of the group. When the group gets to Dio, it is attacked by some small fries, but it defeats them easily. First, Dio fights Dio. However, his legs are frozen by Dio's vaporization freezing technique, and he loses crushed his legs. Stabbing at Dio's side with a rose having his ripple, he dies at last. The next is in Jonathan's turn to fight. He fights with the sword that he has received from Bruford. Even though his fist is also frozen by Dio's vaporization freezing technique, in the middle of the fight, he finally succeeds in defeating Dio by attacking firing his fist. The marriage with Irina. After defeating Dio, peace comes. Jonathan marries Irina. When they head off on a honeymoon on a cruise, Dio, as following Wan-chan, has gotten on the same ship. He has brought Dio's neck into the ship and has gotten on to deprive Jonathan's body. Dio ejects liquid out of his eyes and attacks Jonathan's neck. Jonathan attacks Wang Chan, putting forth his final effort. Wang Chan is controlled by Ripple and holds onto the screw shaft, then the ship collapses. Arena decides to die with Jonathan, but she hears a baby's cry, there by chance. Arena ends up escaping from the ship bringing the baby, and Jonathan sinks to the bottom of the sea keeping Dio's neck. As explained above, this is the summary of JOJO'S first story. What did you think of it? Do you want to read the comics? Please read the comics if you are interested. The second story is about Jonathan's grandson, Joseph. You are curious about the second story, aren't you? I will put the Amazon link on the description, so buy all of the comics. That is all for this time. See you.